So, welcome to the live stream. I hope everybody can join us here today. I'm trying a little bit of a new setup, so yeah, I'm excited. We're going to be going over the new ZV-1 Mark II that I believe is supposed to be coming out, and the rumors are too high. There's definitely going to be a point-and-shoot camera that's coming out over the next few weeks, I would say. But whether it'll be a ZV-1 Mark II or just a completely new, I guess, line in the ZV-1 point and shoot family, I guess that is up for debate. We're going to be going over that of what my wish list is for the specs, what improvements I would like to see over the ZV-1. And then we will talk about one of Sony's biggest mistakes that I believe they're making. And I will go into that. And I do think it's a big disappointment. And I would just like to get everybody's thoughts on it. And then we'll, of course, go over into the chat and talk, and we'll just interact and have a good time. And yeah, the FX30 came out as well. That's a big one, and that was exciting stuff. If you are here, if you're watching, be sure to hit that like button. This gets this out to more people. We can have more conversations and a better show. So let me go down here and check the chat. Now, let me go ahead and flip over while everybody is hopefully making their way in. And I will go ahead and share my screen and jump over to the major trades here. All right. So I have not. Oh, there was there was a pretty big news as well. Let's see right here. Let me go ahead and this is Sony Alpha Rumors. Let me go ahead and refreshed these in the morning here. This is early morning Vietnam. Drop in the comments. Let me know where you're coming from. Drop in the chat, rather. All right, so this is Sony Alpha Rumors. Oh, there's B&H. Just me trying to buy stuff. Sony Alpha Rumors didn't have anything new there. I'm going to go over this Qualcomm article here in a bit and talk about that in a second. Canon Rumors, there's nothing new as far as what I didn't see last night. And then let's see, Nikon Rumors. Refresh these. Sometimes I get lucky and there's like a new story that just breaks instantly, and if that's the case, I want to get it out to you guys. It does not look like there was any new cases overnight, so our normal topics are going to be our normal topics. Let's see here. Let me check the chat, see if anybody's here talking. Is anybody here watching and talking? If not, it's okay, because I do have some topics that I will just go into, give you my wish list here about the Sony ZV-1. I do want to try this new format out just slightly. I'm messing up because I'm going to the wrong camera here. I'm looking at my one camera. I do want to try out this this new, I guess, version of things, because I just feel like there's some people who can come watch us live, which I really enjoy. Hopefully we can get more people that will just start flooding in here in a bit. There's some people that will watch us live and they'll enjoy it, and we'll have a big conversation. A lot of times it's a few minutes after we actually start. But I know a lot of people watch us on the replay, but not everybody's going to click on an hour plus video, which is often what the live chat will be. And I a lot of times I don't go chapter it like I'm supposed to. So I just feel like maybe we're missing an opportunity to communicate with other people, and it would save me and help me out quite a bit as well, to actually not just do this video and then just let this be the only thing, but to do a live stream with everybody, enjoy everybody's time, and we'll go over topics and then maybe segment that out over the week, and I can post more videos. So I just want to try it out. It's a new format, so I want to give it a shot. But only thing that changes for our live streams is that I might take 2 to 5 minutes to talk about an individual topic myself before I go back to the chat, and which is going to be a good thing, so we can kind of get things to build up and I can start more of a conversation, so I'm not just like sitting here waiting on a chat to actually happen. If you are here and if you're in the chat, be sure to hit that like button, get this out to more people. Chat with me. I always love chatting as much as we can and interacting, because I think that makes for a better show. So if you can, if you're somebody who wants to interact, then be sure to jump in the chat here. If not, hit that like button, get this out to more people so we can start having a conversation. Yeah, so let's see what happens. Sometimes, like last week, this time slot worked really well, so I'm kind of testing out the waters on different time slots. I'm not just like looking down my phone for no reason. I'm going to check the audio. If you're here in the chat, is my audio too loud? Is it just right? Let me know. Let's see here. Sometimes I jump down here. I can check my own audio. Also see what the lag's like. Wow. Okay. So the lag's pretty bad. Okay. No, it's not that bad. All right. So, yeah. So, yeah. If you're here, like I said, hit that like button. We'll get this out to more people. Let me just go ahead and go into the first topic here. And let the chat hopefully start filling up and people start flooding in. But yeah, let me go ahead and go to this first topic. Um, so one of the biggest mistakes that I think Sony has made with their cameras as of recently, and I think Sony's been doing a really good job. Now, I don't think there's a few things that I haven't been happy with Sony about. I haven't been happy with their firmware follow-up support, and I haven't been happy really with their release schedule because it seems like everything got pushed back, but that's not their fault. There was just supply chain issues. But overall, I think Sony's been doing great things. They've had some great press, especially with the Sony FX30 that just came out. I think that's going to be an amazing camera for a lot of people and in a great price point. But one thing that I think they're really hurting people on is the fact that they went with the CF Express Type A cards over the CF Express Type B cards. And I think that we need to call them out on this, because we've called out Canon so much on the fact that they've dropped third-party lenses and that they don't have lens selection and that they charge a premium for their lenses. I think it's going to be an issue that Sony's basically going to be one of the only manufacturers recently or right now that is doing the Type A cards, and there's a huge premium on those cards, and I think it's going to be an issue. Now, I know that there is some train of thought that thinks, well, you can just have, it's the dual thing, so you can have this, the SD cards as well, which is great. But the issue becomes when you get a camera like maybe, say, the Sony A7R Mark V that is supposed to be coming out with huge file sizes, then more than likely, you want that extra speed. You want the no buffer so you can get as many shots out as you can, and you want to be able to import all that footage back into your computer as fast as possible. And CF Express Type B cards will allow you to do that, and even CF Express Type A cards, even though they're not quite as fast as Type B, would allow you to do that. The issue is size, and also the issue is the cost. So let me go into right now. Let me go into and share my screen here. And I'm just going to pull up a comparison. I had this set up here. I want to pull up a comparison on B&H. Okay, CF Express Type A. I just had this up last night, and it just blew my mind. Okay, so this is CF Express Type A. They just came out with a new one. Now, there was two new sizes that were just announced. One was the 320 gig, which is $650, which, that's absolutely nuts for one storage card. And then they had a 640 gig for $1,250. $250. And to me, that's just unacceptable. In my mind, these cards were announced because there's going to be a Sony A7R5 coming out. They're not really announced for the FX30. Yes, the FX30 could definitely take advantage of these as well. Like I'm using the Sony A7S III, and it can use these tough cards as well. But there's really only one mode that I would get access to by using these cards versus, SD Type 2 cards. And with the price of these and not having to have an extra dongle, I think this is, this is kind of the better route that we have. But when we do a price like this, it's absolutely insane, especially when you compare it to what is going on with the CF Express Type B cards at this point. This, it's just really anti-consumer in a lot of ways. So, you have, of course, you have SanDisk, but there's so many different options. ProGrade just came out with a new one right here, and I want to find it. ProGrade just came out with a new one that was really fast, as well as faster than the Type A cards. And you had, if I can find stuff here, you had a 2 terabyte option, which is nuts. And to me, it's like, why would you not, I guess, give people a better option? Okay, for example, here's Red Company. This is one, and this is, of course, Red. That's 2 terabytes for $950 versus 640 gigs for $1,250. It doesn't make sense for most people to be able to pay for something like that, or even have the possibility of paying for something like that. I'm trying to find the particular ones I saw last night, but I'm having a little bit of trouble with everything here. But basically, it was $1,400 for a 2 terabyte. It was for a 2 terabyte card from ProGrade here, and it was a 2-pack for $1,400. So a 2-pack for $1,400 versus one card for $1,250. To me, this is about as anti-consumer as Canon is with their lenses. And I really do not understand the reasoning besides, them wanting to keep their cameras extra small. But if that's the case, if you go and look at the Canon R5, the weight difference and the size difference between the A7S III or the A7 IV versus the Canon R5 isn't so big that I wouldn't ask for a CF Express Type B card over these Type A cards. I think that they could figure it out and could have figured it out. But to me, this is a big issue here, and I don't think Sony's going to switch ship anytime soon. And I would love for competition to come into the market here. And of course, Sony's not cutting off competition, but basically they're the only camera company that is using these type of cards, and by doing so, they're able to drive up the price, and we don't get the speed, and we don't get the sizes that we could get from a Type B card that have been on the market for a while that they helped pioneer. So if you think it's as big of an issue as me, drop in the comment section below and let me know. If you think I'm overblowing it, drop in the comment section below. Maybe you just like the extra size difference and you would pay the premium for it. But I think this was a bad idea from the start, and I think it's showing that it's going to be a worse idea moving forward. Okay, let me go back to the chat. Maybe we've had some people come in here and see if we can have a conversation about these tough cards. All right, we do have some people watching, but we don't have many talkers here. If you are here and if you're in the chat, hit that like button. We'll get this out to more people, and some people would want to maybe conversate and have a little bit of a chat. It's funny because I moved over the time slot from Saturday nights. It was Sunday morning for me. over to Monday night because last week I was like flooded, and I was like, yes, there's people that want to chat cameras on Monday night. So now I'm picking Monday night, and it seems to be a little hit or miss. So I don't know. Well, as I talk, there's more people jumping in now. So I was just talking about Sony's biggest mistake, which is I think they're going with the CF Express cards. Type A over Type B was a huge mistake and very anti-consumer. So I'm here in the chat now. Let me know. I see quite a few of you have jumped in, started watching it. I just personally, I just think it's an issue. I don't know why you would. I don't know why you would want to pay that much more. Like, to me, the Sony A7S III grip was a huge improvement over the older cameras because or the A7R4. It's the same thing, but that newer body was an improvement. But I wouldn't mind a slightly fatter camera with a little bit bigger of a grip, and we could have CF Express Type B cards. It would be just faster, cheaper. There's so many benefits to it, and for them to keep it small like that is a big deal for me personally, because especially when you're going to get like the A7R5 that's coming out, I just think that you're going to get so many huge file sizes that it really will be, begging for a CF Express Type B card. And I think if you have that situation happen, um, people are going to want a CF Express Type A card, and I get that cameras are an expensive thing, but if you have something that's literally the same price for 4 times, or basically you can get a CF Express Type B card that's about 4 times the storage or so for right around the same price. So I think there's a issue over the near term. Maybe in the long term, it will turn out to be a good thing. But right now, it's an issue, and I think it's about as big of an issue as not as big of an issue, but it's an issue, kind of like what Canon's done. If you're here and you're in the chat, please chat. We can have a conversation here. If you're just watching, I understand. I appreciate anybody just watching, but hit that like button, get this out to more people so we can have a conversation. I like talking to people. I was saying at the beginning of the show, I don't know who was listening or how many people were here, but I am going to kind of do a slightly different format where I want to, of course, interact the same way that we've been interacting before. But when we get times where people want to more listen rather than chat, I want to be able to just go over some topics, and as I go over these topics, I'll be able to clip those out and then use those throughout the week, and it will kind of free up a lot of time for me to do some of the other stuff, and then I'll if some big news drops in the middle of the week, of course I'll make a different complimentary video like normal, but I feel like it will be a benefit hopefully to everybody to be able to do it this way as well, and a benefit of course for myself. So if you're into that, let me know if you think that's a good idea. If not, that's okay too. If you're here, hit that like button, get this out to more people. Let me go ahead and I guess jump over to the next topic. But the next topic I was really hoping we would get a little bit more interaction on, because I wanted to talk about the FX30 as well, and kind of get everybody's opinion on the launch. Last week we got that like literally exactly right on the specs, and Jason was here last week pretending like he didn't know what the FX30 was about, and he was testing it the whole dang time. The whole damn time. I'll say damn. He was testing it the whole time, and he was just playing it cool. I mean, he was a professional. Iced coffee in the morning. If it's at night for you, back in if you're in the United States, open a beer. We'll talk cameras with a beer. But Jason was here. Jason Morris was here, and he had been testing the FX30 for I don't know how long, but he was like asking me about the specs. What do you think it's going to be? I have no idea. Anyways, I just thought it was a really funny situation that he had basically all the knowledge and he was just playing it up. But I literally guessed exactly. I said with that, they're not going to add the 6K. That will be the nerf, but it will be 6K downsampled up till 4K. 60, and then with 4K 120, maybe they'll do an additional crop, and that's basically literally exactly what they did. So I was pretty happy with myself for guessing it. That being said, that's kind of one of the reasons I want to talk about the new ZV-1 Mark II and kind of have a better conversation about that. If you're here, if you're in the chat, let talk. If not, hit the like button. We'll get this out to more people. I'm sorry I keep repeating that, but it really does help. If you start hitting the like button, it just starts sharing it out and says, okay, people like this, and it allows us to have a better show overall. All right, so let's see here. If we're not going to have a conversation, that's fine, but let me talk a little bit about the the Sony ZV-1 Mark II. So personally, I'm almost 100% sure that there's going to be a new ZV-1 Mark II, or whether it will be a Mark II or just a new ZV camera in the point and shoot, realm. I'm not exactly sure, but I do know there is a new point and shoot camera coming over the next few weeks, almost with 100% certainty. That being said, I think there's some definite issues, or not necessarily just issues, but improvements that I would like to see out of a point and shoot camera that would really influence me towards buying it. The first and biggest issue that I think a lot of people had with the Sony ZV-1 Mark I, I guess we'll call it at the time, the original ZV-1, was the focal length. It was a 24 to 70 focal length, and when you had that active stabilization on, it just cropped in so much. And the stabilization worked great, but I mean, it was cropped in, I don't know how many times. It made it like a 30 something. And if you're going to use that for quote unquote vlogging, you do not want to be able to crop in like that. And that's what you wanted stabilization for if you're walking or you're doing something like that. Because most of the time, if you're just pointing the camera out and it's a camera like that, you could get it steady enough, but if you're going to be like vlogging and walking and really shaking the camera, that's what you wanted the stabilization for. And if if you're vlogging at 30 something, then that's not the focal length at 30. It's going to be too close in. It was just an odd situation. That's the number one thing I think that I would like to see them improve. And also, I did a poll on the channel, and that was what most people wanted to see improved the most. Was that as well. Let me see if I can jump over here. So I did a poll on I did a poll recently, and I asked that question. Wider focal length was number one at 60%, or 59% was what people wanted to see out of it. And going along with that, I would really like to see not just the wider focal length. What I would love to see out of that would be maybe like a 20 to 150. Now, I'm not exactly sure how it would work, because I know when you get to the wider side, things would usually, you have to add more optical glass, but I think Sony's came a long way with their different lenses that they've done in the past, that maybe they can make it work. I mean, I would really love to see like a 16, but if that's not possible, that's okay. But even if you have a 20 millimeter to like 150, the RX 100 Mark VII had a 24 to 200. So I think a 20 to 150 is possible, especially if this is not a ZV-1 Mark II, but this is maybe a little bit higher end version of the ZV camera. Because if I'm not mistaken, I believe the ZV-1 Mark II, or the original ZV-1, is still probably selling well. It's not extremely old. I think it's less than 2 years old, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. Time is a little weird with all the pandemic stuff. It's just it's an odd time, so it's hard for me to keep a good gauge on when things came out. But I believe it's around 2 years old, not much more. If so, I would honestly not be surprised if it's just a completely new ZV camera that's a point and shoot. Maybe taking the place of an RX7 or RX 100 Mark 8, what it would have been. And if that's the case, I could see it maybe being like a $1,100 camera, having a little bit higher specs, and still sticking with the ZV style with the new flip out screen, the new design, but hopefully having a longer focal length with its lenses and a little bit higher end. That's what I would really like to see. Now, my second big improvement that I would like to see, and let me jump over to the chat really quick, see if we're having any conversation about it. No, I'm still talking to myself. I don't like it. All right, it's fine. All right, so the next big improvement that I would like to see, about a Sony ZV-1 Mark II, or whatever we're going to call it, is I would really like to see 10-bit video in it. Personally, I would like to see 10-bit video before I even see 4K 60. And I know a lot of people want 4K 60 in it, and maybe it will have it, maybe it won't. But 10-bit video would be very beneficial to me personally. I think that I would love to have the ZV camera, the point and shoot camera, to be, a B cam or a camera that I would use, within a story. I've been trying to do some travel videos, and to be able to add to the story in between and not just have to use like my iPhone or something. If I'm sitting at a restaurant, I don't want to pull out the whole rig. To be able to have that camera, just to be able to pull it out and to shoot it in S-Log3 and be able to match up my footage fairly, I guess close to having similar colors between the two. That's what I would really want, and having 10-bit video would really allow me to do that fairly simply and just kind of really speed up the process. So 10-bit is where I would want things to be, and that's probably my biggest want, even before 4K 60 out of a point and shoot camera. Now, going over to my next thing, just to jump over to the next thing right away, I would say my next biggest want out of this camera, and would be a thing that would make me really pull the trigger on it, is if they would improve the in-camera mic on this vlogging camera, because I think a vlogging camera, the benefit of a point and shoot is how small it is. And if you have to go rig out external microphones to it, then it kind of negates the point, or it really hinders the point about it being so small and so portable. If you have to pull out and be like, oh, well, the mic sucks, so let me hook up a new mic to it, or have, a lavalier mic. And even if it's not perfect, and I get, the original ZV-1 camera was, fairly good, I've heard. But I've seen what Sony can do with their little shotgun mics that they have, that are digital shotgun mics that they put in. They have for sale for their Sony cameras, and they're incredible, and they're really small in size. And I think Sony could do something, really good with the audio. And if they could have it near shotgun mics, sounding, maybe not perfect, but they could have it very close to, an external microphone sound, like 90% there, or even 85% there. I think that would go a long way for me wanting to get it, because I want to just be able to pull that thing out, talk to it, not have to hook up another mic. Because if I'm going to do all that, then I might as well just use my bigger, camera. If I'm going to have to pull out a whole bunch of stuff and hook up an external mic, I might as well have a whole, nicer camera and a nicer setup rather than a point shoot camera. So that is my next biggest thing that I would like to see improved. On that note, let's jump over to the chat and see if people are talking yet. Again, no one's talking. If you're here, if you're in the chat, conversation. That's what I would like to see the most, is have a good conversation with everybody, and have an interaction back and forth. If you can't, that's okay, but hit that like button. We'll get this out to more people, and we'll have a bigger conversation, or a better conversation, a less one-sided conversation. Okay, so the next big thing, my next wish list item for the Sony ZV-1 or the new ZV-1 or whatever it's going to be called would be I would like to see more connectivity between the internet and social media. I would really love to see almost Android being able to run on something like this, and it would be a different version of Android for sure, but being able to, even if it's just Wi-Fi, you'd have a Wi-Fi, a separate menu that you could maybe press, and it would go over to essentially looks like a smartphone setup where you could connect to Instagram, YouTube, wherever the case would be, whatever you want to post for, TikTok, and just be able to post it almost instantly from your camera. That to me is got to be somewhat where the future goes. Especially with the way cell phones and stuff are starting to really take over. And a point and shoot camera, even more so than any other mirrorless camera, is competing with a smartphone because this is it's a point and shoot. It's something that you're taking out and you're using it similar to the way you would use a iPhone camera, and people are using it in similar manners, and they have to really go above and beyond what you can get out of an iPhone to, I guess, give people incentive to buy something like that. I think overall there's still a improvement on the video quality that you can get out of like a ZV-1 versus an iPhone. I think there is a quality improvement there, but if there's extra friction in the process, then I think most people are going to take the path of least resistance, and they're just going to pull out their iPhone and say, oh, I can take a video that is good enough and is right there at my fingertips, and I can post it, and I got it out to my friends, my family, or my group, depending on people who are watching, if they're actually have like a big following or whatever. They can get that stuff out there instantly from their phone versus, oh, I got a slightly better video on this point and shoot, but I got to go take it back to a computer, maybe do some editing on my computer, and then I'm going to post it to my social media. It's just such a extra hassle that would maybe cost people an extra hour or so, that people think, well, I can get very similar amount of quality from my phone to be able to go do that extra for a point and shoot. I just don't think it makes sense. So I would like to see almost a version of Android run on this thing. And I know it's possible. Sony has their own phones, and I think it would be really smart for them to do that, especially with a point and shoot. And really, I would like to see them do that with future cameras as well. But a point and shoot would be a perfect way to kind of test the waters, and I think would be go a long way to start improving. I think the overall camera experience for a lot of people, to have some on some editing that you could do just on the fly. I think that would be a good thing. Let me jump back to the chat, see if we're having a conversation yet. We might not be. We're still not. That's okay. Okay. So moving on to the last big improvement, and there's a lot of improvements that I would like to see, but I'd say the last, I guess, major improvement that I would like to see is I just forgot it. I just lost it. I think I actually went over most of the improvements. No, I would like to see some computational type video and photography go into these type of things. And I know a lot of people don't like it, and I get it for if you have extra glass and everything. I understand that. But if you're going to go and you're competing with cell phones, then I think you have the optical ability a little bit better, a little bit bigger of a sensor with these point and shoot cameras. You can still do some computational photography. And the reason I say that, and I could jump over to an article that I have here ready to go here. There was an article from a Qualcomm executive. So essentially, Sony had said something about smartphone cameras being able to surpass image quality of DSLR cameras over the next few years. And a lot of people made fun of that and heckled it and said that's not possible. And maybe, there isn't, you know, a whole, maybe there isn't everything that can go away from physics and the extra light that's going to go in there. But I did make a case about the iPhone when it came out, and it seems like this Qualcomm executive is kind of saying similar things. So back in May, uh, this Sony executive basically said, we expect that still images will exceed the image quality of single lens reflex cameras within the next few years. So I'm not sure if, when he says single lens reflex cameras, does that mean interchangeable lens cameras, or is that saying point and shoot cameras? If that's saying point and shoot cameras, I would completely agree right here. But I'm not sure. I thought at the past it was like a DSLR camera. But now going down here to this new Qualcomm executive, if you don't know who Qualcomm is, essentially they make like all the major chipsets, and they do a lot of the Qualcomm like has the chip, like the Snapdragon chip. They know quite a bit about their processing power and what's going on. And it says, in terms of getting towards the image quality of a DSLR, yes, I think the image sensor is there. I think the amount of innovation that's going into the mobile image sensors is probably faster and more advanced than what's happening in the rest of the industry. The processing in Snapdragon is 10 times better than what we find on the biggest and baddest Nikon and Canon cameras. And that's why we're able to really push the barrier of image quality, because even though we have a small lens and small image we're doing many times more processing than what's even capable in a DSLR. So, Sony Alpha Rumors makes the comment that, 100 megapixel Samsung doesn't look near as good as like a medium format and full frame. I get that. Oh, he says medium format. And that's true. I'm not arguing that. But, we're at a point where there's so much money that is flooding into the smartphone market. And a lot of people, the biggest improvements are from camera to camera. The operating systems are already pretty set in. They add a few new features here and there, but they don't really need faster chips to do anything besides push cameras and do things like that. And that's usually, like, if you look at the iPhone 14 Pro, whatever it's called, the biggest top dog, the big differences are usually in some screen stuff and mostly the cameras. That's where the big draw is. That's what makes people want to upgrade to those pro models. And if you have that amount of money and that amount of just pure market research that's going in to a problem, then I think that they're going to be coming up with smarter, better solutions in software that's really going to push the industry forward. And I'm not saying that it means that cameras are going right away and that, it's going to be anytime soon. I don't know. I'm not going to predict the future completely. But what I do believe and what I do think is needed is, I think that we should expect more from our professional, cameras out there. Because if we can expect more from our professional cameras, then we can actually justify getting them, and they'll have more success for more people, which will bring more development into the cameras that we love, and we get more out of them as well. So I don't know why Sony don't just use a Snapdragon chip, to be honest, or why Canon they don't just use a faster processor that they have out there, and they could just pop it right in their DSLR cameras. I don't know. I'm not a tech engineer person, but I do believe them when they say that it's about 10 times faster, because the processing that they can do on your phones is absolutely nuts at this point. So I do not know what the holdup is. If it's just a software stuff and they don't want to put Android on it, maybe that's the issue. But I would love to see, Android, and then have, the menus built in as like, that's the main thing, but then you can flip over and you have Android on your camera. And I think a point and shoot camera would be an amazing place to start something like that. All right, let's see if the chat's open back up. I went over the most of the big topics here. This just might be a day that most people want to listen, and that's okay. But it doesn't seem like people are here ready to chat. So yeah, we might just have an early day today. If you're here and you want to chat, this happens a lot where I'll be like about to wrap things up, and then we'll get a flood of people that are watching, and like they want to just start chatting up. So that happens. But yeah, if you're here and you're maybe watching this after the fact, let me know kind of what are your thoughts on just all the different topics that we talked about, and also let me know what is the best day to actually have the live stream portion of this thing. What is a day that works well for you? I thought that Monday night was going to be great because last week Monday night was really happening. So I don't know if there's a difference in holidays or YouTube's just doing something funny and we're not getting it out to more people. But I thought that Monday night was going to be great, and that's why I went for it. But it doesn't look like everybody's here. I hope whoever was here and who listened enjoyed it, or people who are watching this after the fact enjoyed it. Drop in the comment section below and let me know. Give me your thoughts on some of the stuff that we talked about, whether or not it is the FX-Z1, or sorry, the FX-Z1, the Z1 Mark II, and what we can add into that camera, or if it is some of the other stuff that we talked about the Sony CF Express Type A cards being a huge mistake and really anti-consumer in a lot of ways. Oh, Jason is here. He's been the listener who's hasn't been talking. No, Jason, which I always appreciate Jason coming and listening. Jason, I've been struggling. I don't know if you could tell. I was somewhat struggling to talk with nobody here. Yeah. So he said, just listening while I rig up a car mount system. Well, I appreciate you being here listening. Jason, man, he's been a huge supporter of mine, and I very much appreciate him. He's awesome. If you haven't been to his channel, it's an amazing channel. He's an amazing videographer and creator in general. And so he jumped in on here on a live chat one time and really gave some perspective on what it takes to become successful in the video industry. And actually, I'm going to take that interview and maybe try to, set it out and clip it out as well. I haven't been able to do that. How about that FX30? Who would have thought the specs? Yes. Jason had the FX30 the entire time, and we were all speculating. We were all asking questions like, what is going to have? And he just had it. I don't know how long he had it, but he had it for a long time, and he just completely played it cool. Like, I really have no idea about this one. There's some other cameras. I'm not going to throw them under the bus here, but there's some other cameras that, well, he wasn't as cool and didn't play it as close to the vest as he would have on the other one. But he played the FX30 very close to the vest. So do you still have the FX30, or did you have it? And I think you might have had to give it up already. I don't know. But if you still have it, that's cool. I know I've been watching some of the videos you were testing stuff out. Jason had oh man, it was funny because he had to go through. Sorry, it was funny from my perspective, not from your perspective. But he had to go through because he said, oh, he only had it for 3 days. Gotcha. Well, I'm sure. From your videos, it made it sound like you're actually going to pick up the camera. And from previous conversations that we had, it sounded like you were going to have, you're going to get the FX30. So if you're going to get the FX30, that's great. But Jason, he messed up one thing in the first video and basically said it didn't have a crop in 4K 120. And of course, like, I jumped and started asking him about it. But then later on, he like pinned a comment because everybody flooded, and he's like, okay, I just misspoke that one part. But I felt bad because he just had to go through and just like comment to everybody. I mean, I misspeak all the time. And I just know how hard it can be because everybody, if you say one thing wrong, everybody just wants to act like, wait, that's not right. That's not right. And he just had to go through and chat to everybody. I can't even imagine on a channel as big as his, just being there and having to respond to all that. Anyways, I laughing at your expense, Jason. I'm sorry, but that was, you had the FX30 and didn't tell us, so all is even. If you're here and if you're in the chat, hit the like button. We can get this out to more people. We'll have a conversation. If not, then I'll be wrapping it up because we went over most of the topics here. He said, "Yeah, my bad." Yeah, no, it's all good, man. I misspeak all the time. It's all good. You're human, yeah, of course. I sometimes I don't know because I've seen like your videos and you look pretty superhuman. You're like all jacked and stuff. Uh, but no, it's all good. I mess up plenty of times. I probably messed up 10 times in this live stream alone. What did you think of my ZV-1 Mark II? Not predictions, but desires. Did you get to hear that part? What is your wish list? What would you like to see improved in a ZV point and shoot camera? If you had that. So my biggest ones were a wider focal length, less crop in active stabilization, and I think better stabilization overall. A better shotgun mic or better onboard mic that would be a close equivalent to a shotgun mic. And then number 4 for me would be 10-bit video. I would love to see 10-bit video so I can match it up really well with my A7S III. And then number 5 for me was more connectivity with social media. Jason Morris said, I've never heard of it, but a wider lens would be great. I know a lot of people wanted that. Yes, that would be great. Jason's never heard of this. We've talked about it, Jason, in the past. Not you, but I've talked about it on the channel. But supposedly, who knows, it's possible that there's going to be a new ZV camera coming out over the next few weeks. I don't know anybody who would possibly know more about it. But people have talked about it, and there's been Sony Alpha Rumors is talking about it, not just me. And apparently there's a new ZV-1 camera coming out, and the new ZV-1 camera will have some interesting stuff. That's my wish list. Don said, hey y'all. So you from the South? You from the South like me, Don? Not South America, this South United States. We say y'all, which means you all. I don't know if that carries over to everybody else, but I like it. I think it's a good thing for instead of saying you all, y'all. It's so much easier. Anyways, I love how I'm about to get off, and I'm like, okay, let's just wrap this up because we're not having many people want to chat. And then literally at the very end, everybody jumps in. Hey, I'm here. Anyways, if you're here, if you want to keep chatting, let's keep chatting. I'm here for it. But if you are watching, hit that like button because we can get this out to more people and we'll have a bigger, more robust conversation. Robust? That's a word, but I'm surprised I actually had it in my vocabulary right away. If not, catch me on the replay. I was saying before, and I don't know how many people were listening, but I kind of want to do this as a slightly new format. I'm trying to get a little bit better quality with what I'm doing on everything I do, and I hope that I'm going to be able to maybe segment out a lot of this type of stuff and clip it out and then post it throughout the week. And then if a big news story comes out, of course I'll cover it individually, but otherwise I'll go over most of the news stories or topics, and then I'll clip those out. I'll come back to the chat, and we'll have more of a conversation to do. And that's kind of going to be hopefully a new format that will work for me and for everyone, I hope. So anyways, Don says, no, haha, I'm just used to saying that. Okay, well maybe other people say it and not just people in the South. But I say y'all quite a bit. Or everybody says y'all in the South, or just hey y'all. Hey, not hey y'all. I don't know if I guess we do say it like that too, but we'll just be, are y'all over there? Are y'all doing this? Y'all? Anyways, we use y'all all the time. I love y'all. That's bye. I love y'all. Now that I'm saying it more, the more country I feel like I'm sounding. It's nuts. I've been in Vietnam for 3 months. Oh gosh, I forgot. I wanted to talk about this with everybody. So I'm going back to America. Dun, dun, dun. But not forever. So my wife and I, there's some family stuff that we wanted to take care of. and some other stuff we wanted to come back with the experience that we already have now. We're doing some travel content, creating a travel channel as well. We have content, and we've been editing out video. So so yeah, but we're going back to America for a short period of time. We already have our round trip ticket back, so we'll be there for 3 months. And in the meantime, there's some stuff that I'm going to be buying because there's some stuff that I know like I need to sell because I never used it, and some stuff that I think would be great to take its place. So yeah, let me go into that. So Don said, a question for you, Matt and Jason. I'm planning on selling my A7 III. What would you guys think is a fair price to sell it for? I still have the box. I have everything that came in the box. Just wanted to sell it to upgrade to the FX30. Boom. That's funny because I have a Canon EOS R, and I was wondering a similar thing because I'm going to keep my lenses for Canon, but I never use that camera, and that's one of the things I'm going to sell to get some new lenses. Let me go look really quick for you and just see what they're going for new at this point. I think, so if you look here, if you look at what they're going for new, so it's still 2000 new, which is nuts. That's surprising to me. I thought, a lot of times they were down open box. So they have open box options, which are not even really used at 1800. Let's see. Open box. Usually, in the past, they were down new closer to 1800. So I don't know if with all the inflation stuff that they just popped it back up to 2000 and just have left it there. Maybe that's the case. Usually, I don't know if they don't have any used apparently, but open box I think is usually basically people that got it and they returned it. As my understanding of open box. So that's 1800. I would suspect if this is open box and this is what they're selling open box for is 1800, then they probably like one of their, not mint, but very high end, great conditions would probably be somewhere around, a couple hundred less than that. So 1600. So my general belief is if your stuff is in good condition, that you can usually, if your stuff's in good condition, if you go check like B&H and Adorama, and you see what they're selling, like their top, their best used, I guess, for, and if you can undercut that by like, $300 to $400, that's usually a pretty safe bet. Because you have to think that most people are going to say, well, if it's very close to the price of what's the best used one I can get on Adorama, and they supposedly checked it out, and I have some bit of protection on that, then I would personally, myself, I would say, okay, well, if Adorama has one that they checked out and say it's in, the best condition for 1500 and this other guy's asking for 1300, then I would say, well, I would rather pay $200 extra and get something that I believe is coming from a reputable company rather than taking my risks on it. So, I mean, I don't know what, the shutter count's going to be quite a bit too, because I know you're a wedding photographer. So, I believe you're a wedding photographer. I'll mix this up all the time, but you're wedding videographer and stuff. So the shutter count's going to be an issue. What is your shutter count? So that's going to be a variable. But yeah, I think just see what it is on Adorama and B&H, what their lowest or not, what their used is for great condition, and then maybe undercut that by $300-ish. That's what I would do. Jason says, go on Facebook Marketplace and try to sell it. Are still quite up there in price. But for $1,500 to see if it gets any bites, but I didn't know if it was too high because I called B&H and they said they would offer $800. No. So yeah, so you're, Don, B&H is a business. So B&H will never offer you as much is what they could. But take into consideration, if you don't have a Paybu card or whatever, and you have to buy tax, then anything that you usually trade in is going to knock off some tax. So obviously 800 is super low balling, but if you're using that as a trade-in value and it's taking off, usually you have to talk to them more specifically. But most companies, say for example, in depending on which state you're in or wherever, but usually you have about a 10% tax. So the FX30 is $1,800. The FX30 is $1,800, so you're looking at about $180 in tax, give or take, a little bit. So if they gave you $800 for a trade, then basically you're taking off $80. So they're giving you $880, which is still not enough for your particular situation. But they're having to resell it. But they'll probably resell it for $1,500 if they have open boxes. If they have just open box purely, so it's basically, like I said, open box. Someone bought it, didn't like it, returned it. If they had open boxes at $1,800, then they're probably selling the best of the best for right around, $1,600. So that if you think about that, I would say you could probably get, between $1,200 and $1,400 out of it, Don. That's what I would think. I'm thinking EOS R. I'm counting 1,000 is what I'm looking at for EOS R, but it's not near as popular of a camera, and wasn't near as good of a camera overall. So I think $1,200 to $1,400 is what I think you could get out of it, but I could be wrong. Do I sound off? Or hey, is there anybody else in the chat? Have y'all sold any, or have you seen any? I guess whatever. Let's just keep going. How about this? Let's do some more research for you, Don. We'll figure it out. Let's see. Let's go over to eBay.com. Come on, internet. Sony A7 III. Okay. So yeah, like this is almost exactly what I was talking about here. I mean, you're getting kits, but yeah, you're looking at about $1,400, between $1,200 and $1,400. It looks like is what people are asking for. Now I'm not seeing many bids. So this one right here has 7 bids, has 8 days left though, and it's already at $1,150. Usually you can see like sold for. I don't know where you can find it if you're not listing it. But you can usually see like a recently sold. Inning soonest. All right, let's go here. All right, so this has 1 bid at $1,500. But it's open box again. So it's open box. This one right here has only got 1,000. Which sucks. So I don't know. I would expect more, but I don't know what the quality of everything is. So I mean, you're getting them right around 1,000. These aren't ending. A lot of times you get at the very end, you get some bids. This one's $1,300, but it has the kit lens. Yeah, I think $1,200 to $1,400 is probably going to be where you're at. And I don't know. eBay always takes their cut, which sucks. So I don't know if eBay's the best place to sell it, but this is maybe a place that you can get an idea. This one has 14 bids, also with the kit lens, $1,250. Okay. Hope that answers your question. That's my belief. Yeah, I posted it on. Okay, sorry. Go here. Thanks. I saw earlier they had to use ones for $1,700 and $1,650, so I was like, okay, I will try $1,500. eBay is a good choice. Didn't think about that. I sell a lot of stuff on eBay. I wish there was a better option because I'm not very happy with eBay, to be real. But I have. So going back to America for 3 months, I already have the return ticket to come back in New Year's. And I have things I want to sell. I'm going to sell my Sigma 100 to 400. I just bought it. before I came, but I realized being here that it's just it's not it's nice, but it's not practical for what I'm needing when I'm making these travel videos. A lot of times I'm in a location really fast. I don't have much time. I'm trying to get as much stuff as I can, and I've traded it out. It's great. Sometimes it's a good camera lens overall, but it's not worth it for what I'm trying to do. The other lens that I'm going to sell is my 24 to 70 Sigma art lens, and I'm going to basically sell both of those, and I'm buying the Tamron 35 to 150. I'm also going to sell the Tamron 70 to 28 2.8. It's a good lens overall. There's nothing wrong with it, but the more I have it, the more I know that I'm really hurting on the with not having that extra focal length. And I'm also noticing that a lot of times with wider shots and travel videos in particular, you're opening it up. You're not always going to keep it at f2.8. Most of the time, you're going to open it up even further, get more stuff. If you're in a location, a lot of times you're opening the shutter up. You're opening the aperture up a lot of times, and technically, I guess you're closing it. Anyways, you're raising the aperture, and you're trying to let more dimension in, so you're not necessarily wanting to open it up at 2.8 anyways. And then if you're vlogging with it, I mean, if you're that close to the camera, you're not getting too much. You're already going to get some blur, and it's not that big of a deal. And so, yeah, I am wanting to trade it for the F4 from Sony, the PZ F4 35 or 15 to 16 to 35. That's what I want to trade that one for. Sorry, I didn't mean to go all on that for you guys. Don says, yeah, even if I do 1400, I would be happy because I already made my money from the camera for the 2 years I've had it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you've sounds like you've worked that camera quite a bit, and that's going to be an issue. They're going to want to ask about the shutter count. I mean, I think it's probably completely fine, but people want to know because that's the mechanical part that can mess up. So a lot of times they'll ask for a shutter count, and that kind of determines the wear on the camera in a lot of people's eyes. But know that even if you get 1400 from it on eBay, I think they can take like 10% or so. You just go look at their cut because it's kind of confusing. They'll say on this particular item we'll take this, and this they'll take this, and I've sold stuff before thinking, oh yeah, I did really good. Next thing I know, like eBay took like $200 out or something crazy. I'm just like, oh, that sucks. So yeah. Paras in the Philippines, paratrooper. I remember we talked. Good morning from Dubai. I am fortunate to have nieces and nephews, so all my older kit goes to them. Just sent my ZV-1 kit to the Philippines, and they are loving it. Much more return than money. Yeah. Well, I know because you're the big dog in Dubai, making your stuff happen. But also, you in the film. Okay, was it you that we were talking about? Because I know you were working in Dubai. You're doing, I believe. I say I know, but I believe this is a conversation we had that you work in Dubai, and I think you're one of the head dudes at one of the hotels or something, if I'm not mistaken. You're somebody big and important with good money. But for the average folk like me and Don here, we can't always just give things away. That being said, I actually have my Mavic Air 1, my drone, and I'm going to give it to my nephews here in Vietnam before I head back to America for a few months. So yeah, I'm going to give it to them, and that's the next thing I want to buy. I want to buy the Mavic 2 Air S because that's one of the things I noticed being here and being at some of these locations. I'm like, man, when I come back, which I am in 3 months. I haven't experienced some of the travel videos I've already made. I'm like, there's certain things I want to up my game in, and that's one is a drone. But you said you sent your ZV-1 kit. Are you doing that in anticipation of the new ZV camera, or do you not think you're going to buy it, Don? or Don, Paris in the Philippines. Jason says, Don, don't forget how much that camera helped you learn and upskill yourself. Cheaper than my 30K. Oh, cheaper than my 30K UNA degree. Is it UNA or UNA? Anyways, I know it's a college degree. Don says, yeah, you're right. Jason, I spent about the same in university on film and still learned a lot more on my own than in class. Oh man, I didn't even take film school at all, which you probably can tell. But I did go to college for it was for music business and marketing. So I was in the same entertainment industry ish. Don says, I had the Air 2 and love it. For the price I paid, it was well worth it. Yeah, so I'm looking to get the Air 2 S at this point because it's out. And I love the Air. I think it was a good camera, but I bought it 4 years ago. Last time I was like right before I was here, right when I started to get into cameras, and I could just see the quality. You know, I've been in some of these amazing locations, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, if I had a better drone, this would be so much nicer right now. When I was in Bali, I mean, it was nuts. So yeah, I already have my return ticket set up. I'm gonna go home, take care of a few things. I'm getting the Tamron 35 to 150, the new drone, and the 15 to 35 f4. Those are three things I know I'm getting, or not know, but like am very sure that I want. And I'm going to sell other things that I do not need because I need to lighten up that bag. Paris in the Philippines. I'm the director of an international company that provides control panels for oil and gas kit. Yeah, so you can afford all the stuff. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I'm glad that, no, seriously, like it's a good thing that you can give it to your nieces and nephews. That is a huge gift that you're able to give down to them, and it's a good thing to be able to do. I think that like I was saying here, is we're going to leave my Mavic or whatever the Air original with them because I don't think I'm going to be able to get much money out of it. You know, it's a couple $100, and a couple $100 I would much rather give them a gift than have to go through the headache and only get like $100 or $200 out of it. You know, so for me, with my income level, that's what makes sense. But yeah, I'm happy for people to have success and be able to get the cameras that they want. And it sounds like you're generous with your money as well, giving gifts to your nieces and nephews. So right on, man. Make as much money as you can, give away as much as you can. I love it. Jason says, oh yeah, Matt, in Australia we call uni university. Whoops. Well, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Okay, I was being stupid because I don't, I guess UNA. I mean, I could have just taken down university from that. I'm just trying to think if we actually use that in America the same way. I don't think we use it quite the same way. I think we just probably would say college. I mean, we'll say, oh, he's going to university, but that's usually the longest. We'd just say college, I think. But I mean, America's so huge and diverse, it's kind of hard to say, in America, this is what we do. You know, it's like, in one part of America, this is what we say and do. But I should have picked up on the cues. I mean, I knew you meant college, but yeah. Uni. University? University. See, I say university. So you say university? Am I saying it wrong? University? University? Uni. Or is that just kind of the slang that you use? University is what I would say. You just say, oh, we go to uni. Kind of like a uni. I can't do your accent. Man, sometimes I can do a good Australian accent. I have a good story on that. I want to tell you guys. It's so random, but we get to this next thing. A unit. Oh man, I'm gonna mess. I can't. I'm breaking. Can't do my Australian accent. Paris in the Philippines. I already own two ZX3. I'm guessing it's FX3. I want to say maybe. So invested in the lens system. So now waiting to see what's next from Sony offering. Uh, will be for photo hybrid. If it's complex, me. If it's too complex, me. If it's too complex, I'll get the EV EV10, ZV-E10. Okay. I need something small. That's what she said. Sorry, the last part. No, I get it, man. Sometimes I'll be chatting and typing away, and there's some stuff. But sorry, I butchered that. I'm probably it's my reading comprehension skills. Uh, Jason Moore says, haha, just this slang for uni. The Aussie accent. Aussie? No, I know, man. I have an Aussie story I want to tell you. Let's say in just a second. My wife is Filipino. When you take on the girl, you take on the family, but it actually works out a lot cheaper than being married in the West. Yeah, well, my wife is from Vietnam. That's why we're in Vietnam. I think we've talked about this, had this conversation. But yeah, we've been in Vietnam for about 3.5 months. I'm already editing up quite a bit of travel videos. Like I have one of us getting here, a couple other. So I have about 7-ish videos that are being edited. Not all of them are edited, but I have 7 that are shot that I think can be edited and can make some more out of it for travel content. That's going to be like on a separate channel because I don't want to just like mix everything out. And then I'm hoping before we leave in a couple weeks that we're going to be able to get a couple more. So the idea is we'll be able to get those edited out and start posting and kind of start getting some feedback and get what people are liking out of what we're doing so we can kind of double down on that. And then we're coming back. We already have a return ticket in January. But I've been here, went on a few different trips, and I feel like I know what I need and what I don't need at this point. Uh, Dyslexia ruling KO this morning. That's KO this morning. It's all good. Uh, myself too. Um, so yeah, I'm bad with reading and stuff. So I was probably messing up as well. So anyways, it's all good. Uh, so Jason, okay, so this is not camera related. If y'all can jump in and talk and have a conversation here, or not have a conversation, but like if y'all ask something about camera related, that's completely cool. And maybe this won't be a story that will resonate with everybody. But in America, essentially, if you have an Australian accent, it's a pass for some stuff, man. I gotta say, if you would have came, I don't know if you've ever been to America, Jason, or if you've been here much, but like literally, like, I mean, you're. Let's say I'm not saying you in particular, but in general, if you're like a 6 or 7, Aussie accent is going to make you a 10. I mean, of course, we all know, Jason, you're buff and stuff. You're already a 10. We get it. But just in general, for a general person, Australian accent will like boost you, man. So you're good. Um, so I remember when my cousins and I were young, we went to the mall, and back when people went to the mall still, and I remember just like we practiced the entire way in the car with all like trying to get down an Australian accent, and we got there. You know, it maybe wouldn't be passable in Australia, but in America, it was. Jason says, "I'm a 2, so it makes me a 3." Yeah. Well, yeah, sure, Jason. But anyways, we talked and uh, got it down. It was passable in America, and like literally, it was just like a night and day difference of how you got treated, like buying clothes and everything, and just like you just like the girls would be like touching their hair, like oh my god, you know, it's just so fun. And I remember at the very end, You know, we like made up a whole backstory, and we were just talking, and we weren't going to do anything ominous. We're not going to go like lie to people and like everything. I mean, we were lying, but we were doing it for a joke. We weren't like going and trying to like manipulate people into a relationship or anything. But I went to go pay for my stuff, and we've been talking about all this Australia. You know, I'm from this. I've been here for this amount of time, and I had to pay with my credit card, and they're like, "Hey, we need to see your ID." And so I pulled out my ID, which is a Tennessee ID, and I don't know if it ever hit the girl because she didn't act like anything. She like literally just kept going about it. I pulled out a Tennessee license, and you know, she was just talking to me like still, but I always wondered like in the back of my mind, I was like, did I walk away from her? And then her like it ever clicked that wait, why did you have a Tennessee driver's license and you're saying you're from Australia? So anyways, tough card dilemmas. I know I probably missed it. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, so we can go over that a little bit here since we're having a chat now. Am I the only one who thinks that is a terrible idea that Sony did that? I know they like to keep their cameras small, but we give a lot of flack to Canon for what they've done with their lens selection, and we could say that that's more important, and maybe it is in a lot of ways. But what they're doing with the third-party lenses sucks. But what Sony is doing with that Type A card, just for making it slightly smaller, is awful. Because this 640 gig card is $1,250, and you can get like a 2 terabyte card for less than that if you're Type B. That's faster. I think it's terrible. I think that's the biggest mistake Sony's been making in recent cameras, and I don't see them moving away from it anytime soon. But I think that's bad. He said, "Well, Tilta are sending me their side handle Type A card thing." So you're talking about like the SSD thing. Jay says, "Keen to see what this is about since it's cheaper, I think." Yeah, I think what that is it's going just through the USB-C. It's just an SSD. It's an SSD in the handle. So I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I mean, it's not a bad solution, but it's basically like having an Atmos Ninja that's connected, and you're got an SSD card going right there. It's the same thing. So I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad idea. It might be cool, but yeah. Paris said, "Looking forward to your content, Jason." Me too. I'd be interested. That is one thing though. Like I have, I think the Tilta one actually. Yeah. So I have this whole Tilta cage that I bought last year. I don't even think I ever put it on my Sony camera. And I know maybe if I was doing more production side work, that would be a better thing for me. And at the time I had some stuff where I was using my Atmos Ninja more, like I was using it with my Canon because I could get 10-bit out of it on my ESR. But with the Sony a7S III, I never had that issue. I bought the cage with everything, and I just never put it on really. And so that stops me a lot of times from using my from using my Atmos Ninja. And so that's why I'm like really torn on whether or not I should actually just go and straight up trade my A7S III for the FX30, because I think I can get about even money for it at this point. Jason, which card would you prefer for the FX30? Jason's the only one who's used it, so I don't know. But with the A7S III, you're only missing like one feature. In the 4K 120, you can't get the highest bit rate in 4K 120, I think, and that's pretty much it that you're missing for like those kind of cards. Otherwise, you just do SSD, top SSD card. That's what I would do. That's what I do for my thing. Okay. Hey, buddy.
Mama.
We're having a conversation. We're talking about cameras.
Nana.
Nana? Have we talked to Nana yet? No, not yet. No, this isn't Nana.
Nana.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about. So, the V90 is what I use. I got this one. I had some that messed up with me. Luxor, I had some that were V90 that were too slow. But this one, even though they had the same like readout and everything, it was just one being too slow. But these V90 right here, you can get a 2-pack of these for fairly inexpensive, and they work really well. Wait, no, buddy, that has a lot of important stuff on it. Yeah, here, let's get. Can we give that back to Mama? Okay. Thank you for giving it to Mama. Okay, go see Mama. So many people tell me to record in dual in case one fails, but so many people tell me to record in dual in case one fails, but am I risking a lot by not doing so? I feel as if it's a waste of space. No, please. If you're doing wedding, do 2 cards because I mean, you're still not very likely to have a failure, but I mean, you're somebody's wedding. And then the higher frame rate stuff that's going on, supposedly, I think that was Tony and Chelsea were talking about that. I don't know. They know sometimes they're hitting miss. Hey, beside bow. Sometimes they're hit or miss with my nephew's trying to come in and play, so we can't make that happen yet. But hit or miss with their information. But apparently, the higher frame rate you go, the more likelihood you have of something messing up. So if you're going like 4K 60, you're basically doubling your risk of any kind of failure, supposedly. Yeah. He said, yeah, I use V90 Lexar 128 gigs. So, yeah, maybe it worked out. He said, yeah, Lexar are trash. I've had 3 fail on me. Never again. Shit, maybe I should rethink Lexar. Yeah, that it was messing up on me too. And I don't know why, but the pro grades have really done well, and they're cheaper if I'm not mistaken. So this pro grade card right here was really good. I want to get 256 gigs. That's what I would go with the V90. I wouldn't go with their Type A cards for an FX30. Now, where I do think people are going to need the Type A cards is going to be for like the they're going to need it for like the A7R5 because I think they're going to up the megapixel count, and I think that's why they're upping these things out. Paras in the Philippines, we are subject to draconian video laws here in Dubai. If I'm recording and it accidentally catches a woman in the video, I end up in jail. Jesus Christ. So all my kit has to be small and look non-professional. Dang, dude, that's nuts. Like, you end up in jail? That's scary, man. I mean, I knew Dubai was part of like that whole situation, but I thought that they're a little bit more liberal because of the fact that they have so much tourism. I thought that they kind of were opening stuff up a little bit. Added pro grade V90 256 2-pack into my cart. Rather be safe than sorry. Yeah, I mean, that's just my personal opinion here, especially with the type of content you're doing. But yeah, they're fairly inexpensive, if I'm not mistaken. That's the way I would go. I've never had any issues that I can think of with pro grade. That this particular card. Make sure it's like that version. I think it is because I think that's the one they sell with the 2-pack. So. But I've never had any issues with it. But I'm not pro grade rep, so if you have issues, don't come at me. But hey, my mom, Roger is my dad's name, but it's my mom. She's calling. She's wanting a video chat with my son, and so I need to actually to end things up a little bit. It's need to wrap it up. But I hate because like the whole first 45 minutes of this thing, like I was just talking to myself, feeling like a weirdo. And now we get a good conversation going. I need to stop. That sucks. I like talking cameras. Paris said, I just bought the Insta360 Link, which gives a great 4K. Yeah, I love the idea of the 360. I think 360 cams are going to be where action cams go, because I think otherwise their action cams aren't particularly needed in my mind. I have the Insta360 Twin Edition, whatever, but I wouldn't mind getting the 1-inch update to that. But it's on a list, but further down. Number one, the Tamron 35 to 150. The 15 to 35, and a new drone. That's what I'm definitely getting. And then maybe I'll end up with this new ZV camera if it's 10-bit. Possible. Don says, enjoy the rest of your day, Matt. And Jason, here it's 11 p.m., so I'll be heading to bed soon. Yeah, it is 10 a.m. here. Sharia law, most you can get away with the camera is on a gimbal. Gotta look like a tourist. Wow. Man, that's crazy stuff, man. Well, good luck, man. Stay safe. Don't have anything. Don't go to jail. We enjoy your presence too much for you to go to jail. But yeah, good luck with that. Maybe head back to the Philippines when you get a chance. Jason said, "See you, Don." Yeah, I'm gonna have to go, everybody. I'm so happy that we started chatting, and I hope. I'm going to try to do it at this time next week. So Monday nights for a lot of people and Tuesday mornings for others. I hope that's a good time. I think it works out better than the Sunday morning and Saturday night, because I think some people were some people were going to church in the morning on Sundays, and some people were staying out late and having a good time on Saturday nights. So it was just, I think maybe this is a better time slot. But let me know. I'm still fluid on this. I'm also going to be changing some stuff up with, like I said, the channel in general. I'm going to try to use this as a springboard to create clips and maybe even have more content out on the channel. And then when we get big news, like, for example, when the ZV-1 Mark II gets announced later this week, Jason, is it this week or is it next week? Come on, Jason. Anyways, when the ZV whatever camera gets announced, then that's when I might do some stuff like instantly. Big news I'll do instantly. All right. If you haven't subscribed yet, super appreciate a subscribe. It really helps out the channel. I'm going to get off here. See everybody. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for having a good conversation talking about cameras. Until next time. Peace.